Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network for magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Wow, welcome everyone. It is Thursday. Happy Thursday, my favorite day of the week because I get to be, presenting this on to the cyber digital crazy world that we have going on right now. And you're with us today, and I appreciate that. I am so excited. The #1 international award-winning best-selling book series, Volume 4, 365 Days of Gratitude Quotes, is out, and it is for purchase on Amazon, and it's been an international bestseller in over 40 categories in 5 different countries, and the numbers keep going up, and I'm so proud of it. It is a love, it's a passion, it's a beautiful piece, and this book again is 365 Days of Gratitude Quotes by some of the most accomplished entrepreneurs, business owners, and influencers in the world, but also those who are emerging and up and coming. This book is by us for all of us, and I really want to put that out there. If you would like to learn more about the book, you can go to mybook.to, that's mybook.to/art of connection, number 4. Whoop, there's it, not that. Number 4, see 4 fingers. So Art of Connection 4 to get your copy of the book. Or as Dr. Krieger, my mom says, she always says, get 2 books. One to draw and write in and take notes and get autographs, and the other one to use as your coffee table piece. Great idea, Mom. That's why I love you so much. You're more than just a mom. Also, I want to remind everyone to like us. We love your likes. Go to facebook.com/iNetrepreneur Radio or go to YouTube. It's youtube.com/iNetrepreneur Radio. And like I said, if you have trouble spelling iNetrepreneur, just try to get it done once and then bookmark us. And then guess what? You don't have to worry about trying to spell it ever again. Also, we have 2 magazines, 2 major magazines, our iNetrepreneur Network magazine, .com, and also our contemporarywoman.com, which is published by my wife, my wonderful, beautiful wife, which I talked about. Also, show up for our networking meetings. We put on almost 800 networking events each and every year, from online meetings to pop-up events to our signature events where we get 200, 300, 400 people. And we also just opened up our new Phoenix chapter. So, as we keep growing, like we were before COVID, we're going to start going from state to state. And let's just have a party that never stops. And so, thank you again for being on the show today. Again, my name is Robert W. Jones, if you don't know me, and I'm the owner and the founder of the iNetrepreneur Network. And again, I am happy that you're here today. And I would like to bring on my first guest, and she is an amazing. I still remember once I was listening to Laurel Langmeyer, and she goes, "Well, Sharon Lecter is my financial mom." And I don't want to quite say it like that, Jackie, but in a way, you are like my networking partner, my networking savant, and so I've always appreciated everything that I've learned from you. And so, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's always good to be here and to just have fun. You and I just have fun. Let's face it. We just get here and just decide, well, that's a great comment. I remember that part. Let's do this. So it's fun to be here.
Absolutely. Again, I'm with Jaclyn Zoccoli. She's an international speaker, best-selling author. International best-selling author at that. Creator of 10 networking groups. And, we really have never talked about that before. Maybe we'll get into that today, Jackie. And she's also founder of the Network Builders of Arizona. You can contact her at 480-708-1557 or email her at Jackie Zoccoli, and that's broccoli with a Z. 88@gmail.com. You can reach her there. And again, Jackie, I am so excited for you to be on the show. Jackie, you and I have been able to talk quite extensively about your background, but sometimes I feel like we lightly touch upon your background, but it really created a very, very strong foundation for who you are and what you do today. And one of the things that we don't really get to know too much about is your time when you were in Liberia in the Peace Corps. And I really wanted to kind of stay in that mode for part of this segment and talk about what was life like. When were you in Liberia, and what were some of the things that you learned from your time frame there that you actually still apply to this day?
Well, I was in Liberia when God was a child. In other words, 66 to 68. So yeah, I'm older than dirt. And what I did there was to teach. My education, my degree was in physical education. Did I teach physical education over there? No. I did bring that to the women that were there, the girls that were there, and I know it didn't last. However, to stretch to be able to teach elementary school was quite a little stretch from my college education. However, they speak English, and they use American books. So that part was very interesting. So actually, one of the first, and I'll relay this because it's so indicative of what happened for 2 years. And I don't know that you've heard this story. I want you to imagine about 80 Peace Corps volunteers in a really elaborate Pan Am jet going to Liberia, West Africa. And we land, and we've been wined and dined, actually like the Last Supper, so to speak, because what comes next for the next 2 years is very obviously opposite. So we are stretching there, and I guess that's part of the picture as well, to be working with that many people as intimately. As we get off the plane, the door opens, and it's a wall of steam. Really, a wall of steam, if you've ever had any humidity issues. Haven't had that as an experience that I can draw from. However, at that point, we were all saying, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? For 2 years, I'm going to be here. I'm scared, I'm curious, and I'm excited. And those 3 words are exactly what happened for 2 years. As I walked down the gangplank, so to speak, and onto the tarmac, the people that greeted us were diplomats from wherever. And one of them came to me and said hello. And I said, oh my gosh, it is so green. Here we are in the tropics. Mm-hmm. It is so green. To which he said, no, it's not. I said, what do you mean? And he says, wait till it rains.
Oh boy.
And that whole comment was what was happening throughout the whole year. The surface value of what I saw had nothing to do with the core personalities and characteristics of those people that I couldn't see as I walked into their world. And I felt safer at that time on the streets of Greenville, Liberia, than I would have in the United States. They always greeted me, hello, Mr. Hylas, Mrs. Hyland, hello. And they were always so warm and never in pain. Whatever they had, they loved what they had. And the other part that really taught me a lot was the fact that these children were taught how to learn was to parrot what they've been taught, to recite it and parrot, not to understand.
Right. It's interesting to me, Jackie, though, too, because why I wanted to bring up Liberia so much is we've both been in the publishing world, the technology world, the human interaction and connection world, and during that time frame, I mean, the mode of communication, you're starting to touch upon that, was really peer to peer or peer to group. There wasn't social media. There may not have even been phones. Certainly there wasn't any cell phones. I mean, the connections you had to make were really deep, personal connections, and you had to learn what connections looked like. And that's an area that I kind of want to focus in, because you've taken what you've learned in developing connections, and you've taken it into Silicon Valley, you've taken it into the networking groups, and you take it through, all of the not-for-profit you do nowadays. you know what are three things that you've taken from developing those just really deep personal connections with your 2-year time frame in Liberia?
Well, I think probably the most important is empathy. Empathy is a matter of listening to a level of whomever you're speaking to where nothing distracts you. And this is so true in listening in one-to-ones, with
Mhm.
such a fine focus, and not impressing them with advice, not telling them anything except to just listen and to find out where they're coming from. That's what I had to do with that culture. I didn't know the culture any more than what they taught us. And they did speak English, more or less, broken English, though I didn't really know the culture. And that's exactly what I had learned, is that I had to completely listen. So that's one of the things. I don't know. What would be the second thing that I would say?
Well, one of the things I think of is when you talk about, you know, pay attention. And the other word that I always listen to you, and that's awareness. And I think in that culture, you had to be really in touch with being aware of all that's going on with you, because your communication wasn't just the verbal communication. It was also the nonverbal communication that came in with you. And I think that in certain ways we lose a lot of that when we aren't in person with each other. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And yet we establish even other kinds of things when we are on the screen. So as we always say, don't get a second chance for the first impression. So you're right. But one-to-one is a whole different world. And I have to say that we had been trained to a degree. We are representing an entire country. We are representing, and you've been there, Robert.
Yeah.
Don't let us forget, you were a missionary as well. So
Yes.
the point is that we're representing an entire culture. So what we have to do is to impress upon them our openness, our curiosity, which obviously was easy, or I wouldn't have been there. And to be as supportive as I possibly can, and to dispel the crud they think about us,
Mm.
the
Yeah.
ugly Americans that we have money growing on trees. And, and we could go on for hours on that one. The point is, there are so many bad myths that we have propagated that have to be dispelled. And I have to show that as I'm there, because I am representing a country.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because you're representing a country, but you're also representing yourself. And you want to do it proudly in both areas, because the diversity of the United States of America is amazing. It's the same way that I had, Jackie. Also, not only was my missionary work, I was in the Marines for 6 years as
Mm,
well,
right.
and going to Panama. I mean, here I am, this really young like boy. I mean, I was pretty much a boy. I joined at 17, and I was in Panama at 18 and 19, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at a culture that just doesn't like us very much. And in my eyes, I thought everyone liked Americans, and that was quite a shock. And it really developed in me to understand about connection is proximity and recency, and quite frankly decency trumps everything that's global, because it's really that arm's linked part of communication and understanding and engagement that really matters. And I think that when I see you, Jackie, is what I've learned from you is I see that you treat everyone with the same discipline of your own platform that you create. You are that openness and you care to pay attention. And I think that's something that we need to start doing a little bit more, and trying to understand how can we diffuse all the stuff that's bombarding us each and every day. I mean, I look at my email box, I feel like I need an assistant from my assistant to even to navigate through my emails. But you really do say, when you sit across that person, I believe you're one of the best people I've ever met that sits down in that moment and turns everything off but the person that you are paying attention to. Were some of these skills learned from Liberia, or have you worked on them over the last few years?
Well, a lot of them were there, but I'm actually now even learning at a different level. I'm with a group called Destiny. What is it? Destiny Foundation, Destiny Connect Foundation, and we're doing a mastermind. And some of the people that are in there are literally from impoverished, traumatized cultures where they barely escaped with their lives. And I begin to realize that every single person that I speak to has some sort of a past that is hidden and that crafts who they are. And so, with as much respect as possible, I want to listen at a level that maybe they aren't telling me exactly where that is. And what is it that is holding them back? Because I love to empower people. What is it that maybe is behind that I don't know about? And it's that, and they're all equal as far as I'm concerned. My whole goal is to find out what you need. Once I know your expertise, it's finding out what you need, because then I can help you. Then I can give you something instead of having to buy your insurance. So that's the most important. And that's what I did when I developed the groups in the Bay Area in California.
And one of the big words that I've learned from you, and I actually act on readily and immediately, is when I listen, is like, what alliances are there that I can create? What alliances are there where people can co-create, where they can complete, where they can empower, where they can collaborate, etc. Because there's many silos of connection. Connection's just the starting point of the potential alliances. Jackie, when you look at the beauty of this, how do you dissect people into these different really silos that you've created to create this amazing connection between people?
Well, that's the fun part for me, but that's where a lot of people get lost, because they are so tuned into finding a customer that they have totally lost an entire sphere of millions of people that could be in front of their customer. When they realize that other people have the same prospects that they have, then it's a slam dunk. Why don't you work together and be amazing in their life, so they tell those people and you get word of mouth, which is what people buy. So my problem is to be able to show that importance of that entire sphere. So when I get in a meeting like I do on Mondays with the global networking, I'm like a kid in the candy store, because I've broken it down, and this has made it so much easier. I've broken it down to 6 target audiences. And when people can figure out the main one that they are, then they can look for people going with the same target, instead of going, I don't know, who is it? Does this person work? I don't understand. So when they can go and say, this is my target, who else has that as a target? Now we're going to pay attention. Well, if they're going to that target, how can we work together? So I break them down into the target areas when I'm talking to them in the groups. And now I can see, all right, that's the start. Now, how can you add your services together? How can you work together? And my gosh, now of all times in the history of mankind, there are so many ways to work together. The webinars, the conferences, the books, the websites, the marketing, on and on and on. We never had that before. But then again, you weren't thinking of anything but the customer before anyhow. So it kind of, people go, what? Open up your brain. This person's going the same way you're going. Now, how can you do it together? Well, they're not competing. They're completing you. That's the biggest challenge as well. Well, they're going to take my customer. Not if you work it right. They're going to give you more because they know thousands more.
Absolutely. And one of the things I explain is, like, in my world with networking, everyone feels like they're the only one that has everything for everyone. And I'm like, no, we may all be soda, but we have different flavors, and that's okay too. I worked for Chanel, I worked for iMagnum, I worked with Dillard's, I've worked for Harold's, in shopping centers. You could say, well, but why would you put all these, stores together? You're all competing with each other. Yes, we are. But again, like what you're saying is we're completing with each other, because if someone's going to a Louis Vuitton store, but they happen to pass Chanel, we may both win, because they may get a bag that's Chanel, and they may get, a wallet or a scarf or something that's Louis Vuitton. And I think that's where we forget that there's a certain economies of scale, there's a certain abundance, there's a certain completion that we have by working with each other and aligning, right, Jackie?
Absolutely. The benefits are huge. When people begin to realize it was because of my relationship with so-and-so that we will be able to give the people that I work with even more of a benefit, then it becomes like it's this philanthropic thing. I'm doing my customers a big service here by giving them more than I could have done, because that person's a specialist in that thing, by the way.
Yeah, and you and I we're so into, because that is the next step that I want to get into, because not only I mean, this is the excitement of the awareness, and this is what really geeks me out. And okay, I'm starting to squiggle around here, Jackie, because it doesn't just work in business, it also works. I say, here's the business, but it also works in what I call our human funnel, our not-for-profit funnel. And so much of the time, you and I see that all these not-for-profits, they're competing against each other instead of like working with each other for the greater good. Our mission is a greater good to create, whether it be equality or literacy or running water or building schools, etc. That's where I think that you're really creating something so wonderful with the Global Impact Network. You're taking what you're learning with entrepreneurs and business owners, and you're also helping and apply it in this wonderful, beautiful humanitarian platform, which I so advocate as well. Tell us a little bit about the Global Impact
Oh my!
Network, and a little bit, because I know poor Nathalie. I'm gonna say we gotta save some room for Nathalie here.
I know,
but what I love about this
is, you really want me or what?
I know. Okay. I know.
All right, I'll break
Absolutely.
it down real simple.
Yes.
Real simply. When I was in Liberia, I saw the underserved population. They were obvious. They were the ones on the ground that had very little, and they were doing well with what they had. However, if they had literacy, if they had wellness tools, if they had a more respect or understanding of their environment, if they had employment. So those are the 4 pillars that I decided I can totally impact in a positive way to communities all over the world to create what's the word I'm going to say?
Like sustaining, or
sustainability. Thank you.
Yes.
Sustainability, self-sustainability. That's my whole purpose, is self-sustainability. So in my world, in those 4 areas specifically, they've got to work together. They have to in their pillars. And I find more people to put in the pillars. So I teach them how to give this environment, this underserved population, how to give of themselves so that that population understands how to take care of themselves. Is that not the goal of the whole world as far as I'm concerned? Once we have a population that is literate, we can go miles on that one, knows the wellness ways to get wellness, like the app in East Africa that teaches the women about healthcare or environment. Well, yeah, but I don't know why the crops didn't grow anything, because we didn't have the, and then employment. And one of the groups I have is teaching the refugees how to create sales and marketing platforms using AI, and they're making $300 a month. This is the kind of thing that I want to bring up so they collaborate. I'm my own little Peace Corps, let's face it. So they collaborate so that there's self-sustainability. That's the network. So every week, what I do is I bring in one of the pillars, see who can come in at the same time, see if they've got projects they can work on together. And that's called collaboration. And I teach them how to do that because they're going to the same place.
Yes. And like you talk about, it's about paying attention. And those 4 pillars also work with entrepreneurs. Are we paying attention to all that around this? Are we taking, are we, personal development, self-care, always learning, creating connections, making the right decisions, living in, a comfortable environment, that leads to greater thoughts, bringing people into our lives that create impact. It's the same conversations, but at different levels, and that's what I love. But the last part I wanted to get, Jackie, I appreciate you. You have been in the Art of Connection book series 4 times. Book 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I feel like the series itself has gone on this journey from networking and having the power of your voice to inspiration to transformation and now gratitude. And from there, we're going to go into abundance. But in the 4th book, you wrote a quote, and it states, and I love this, the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is complacency. Tell us a little bit of the story about that quote so we can understand a little bit deeper in your words.
Well, it just became so blatantly obvious to me within, about maybe a year or so ago, is really if you don't appreciate what you have, you don't have it for very long. Because I am very spiritual. I feel that there's a God in my world. And unless I am appreciating what I have, there's no reason to bring more. So that's kind of the whole scheme of things. And so when my God, that's what I'm going to call him. When my God looks and says, you're not paying attention, you are not appreciating what you have, that's the opposite of love. It's the opposite of being able to give completely. It's the opposite of the whole foundation. Hate is just not understanding somebody. Let's face it, that's what it is. It's not understanding somebody. And when you understand them, that word doesn't exist. So complacency is that you're not paying attention, that you're not appreciating what you have. And if people were to have an appreciation, a gratitude for the things they do have, instead of thinking what they don't have, we'd have a whole different world. And that's what I'm working on.
I couldn't agree more. And I look at it this way, if we are grateful for what we have, we begin the process of not taking from others in what they have. We actually become in the state of abundance where we start giving because we're living in the space that we're intended. Everyone, I am with Jaclyn Zoccoli. She's an #1 international bestselling author multiple times. Oh, she's the creator of 10 networking groups. She is a Peace Corps advocate. She is one of my mentors and coaches, and she's the founder of Network Builders Arizona. And I'm always grateful. There's that word, that I get to have the wealth of her abundance come onto this show once every quarter. You can contact her at 480-708-1557. That's 480-780-1557. Or you can email her at Jackie. That's JACQUE, like a Q stick, Jackie Zoccoli, spelled like broccoli, right? But with a Z, 88@gmail.com. Jackie, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate our time. And you're so busy, I had to create a whole show just to get you to talk to you, okay?
Yeah, right.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Love you, Robert.
Again, I want to thank Jaclyn Zoccoli for being on the show today. What a wonderful, wonderful, amazing person. And I'm glad I've had her in my life for 10 years. Jackie, let's do this for 10 more years, and let's see how many people that we can impact, because both you and I, we do this as our life's mission. And I want to thank you so much again for being on the show today. And you know what? I have a first time show. Oh my gosh, guest. And I'm really excited to have her on the show today, because we're going to get to know each other just a little bit, Nathalie, and I cannot wait. I am with Nathalie Botros. She is a happiness coach, psychotherapist, author, motivational speaker, and founder of the Bon-Vivant Girl. You can, right? Bon-Vivant Girl. You can contact her at 917-933-1909. or email her at N-A-T, at the bon-vivantgirl.com. And Nathalie, I repeat this a few times for you, so all those transcribers and AI and all that stuff, which does all the SEO and findability stuff, has your information, because I want you found. I mean, what do we need more of? Mindset and happiness, and you have them both. And so I'm really excited to have you on the show today. And how are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here with you, Robert. Like, this is so fun. I was waiting my turn, you know?
I know. I saw you in there, and I can kind of see you in that little bitty green room like screen, and you're listening, and you're going back, and you're like this, and I'm like, okay, she's doing the jiggy back there, and I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot wait to get her on. Again, I am with Nathalie Botros, right? I love that name. So tell me the background of Nathalie. Tell me the background of your last name, because I am not familiar with the spelling of Nathalie, and I've never seen the name Botros before. Tell us a little bit about your multi-ethnic background that you have.
So, as you said, I'm not American, and my accent gives it away too. If you wonder where I'm from, I'm Lebanese, Turkish, but lived most of my life in Switzerland. And I moved actually to the States, I think 18 years ago. But I mean, I'm new in this new country. Let's say that.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, when at the age of 10, my parents sent me to Switzerland for the best education, and I stayed there and I worked there and I traveled the world, and I didn't just stay there. And I moved to Italy to live there, and I collected all those cultures and brought them with me to the United States.
And it's really amazing because you collect the culture, and it's the people, it's the language, it's the food, it's the architecture, it's the communication. And what I love is you get to experience all these things, and then what comes out with you. And one of the things that I love, and I say this, you're the only other person I've ever known that uses the same word that I do. And I saw that on here when I was reading about you a little bit. You use the word cocktail. And
Yes.
for me, that is the most amazing word, because I always think to myself, what I love about cocktails is it can take multiple ingredients, right? And
Yes.
is it shaken, and isn't it stirred? Is it cold? Is it warm? Do you put ice in it? Is it crushed, right? And all of a sudden, everyone has their own cocktail, and everyone brings their unique ingredients into it, and all of a sudden we come out with a person who just loves and lives life. Or we may come out with a person that's like, okay, let's start over again. You are a person, my friend, that loves life, and you have an amazing cocktail. So I just wanted to mention that for you.
Yes. So actually, my cocktail, just to let you know, doesn't involve any alcohol, but the
No,
ingredients are like
see,
little
that's a
things.
different one. See, you're like the non-alcoholic, probably non-GMO version, right?
Exactly. It's actually ingredients, tips that you can put, like practice in your life on a daily basis to make you happy. It's why it's called the happiness cocktail. And I created it because, as I told you, I've been a traveler. I've lived there, here, and everywhere. But I did all these trips and I lost a lot of time because I was searching for something and I didn't know what it was. I couldn't pinpoint what it was.
Yeah.
And so when I was in Switzerland, I moved to Italy. I said, maybe a move. I used to be, I mean, I am a psychotherapist, but I was working in banks. So I said, let me do a big move. I moved there. I looked for that. After enjoying Italy, the yummy pasta and yummy boys, Italian boys, I was like, this is not bringing me happiness. So I need something else. And I decided to cross the Atlantic where I came. And it was still not happening. And
Mm.
part is like when I came to the US, I thought that it was going to be, I came to New York. Who doesn't love New York? Let's be honest. It's like, you never sleep. But it was exciting, but that nagging, missing thing was still there. And I didn't
Mm.
know. And on top of it, the culture differences. When I moved from Europe to here, all this junk food or like free deliveries, I gained a lot of weight too.
Oh no.
That made me even less happy. And
Mm.
so basically, it was my rock bottom because like I was like missing something. I was in this exciting new country, exciting new city, but I wasn't enjoying it. And I was dedicating myself to try to lose weight. And this is just an example of what we all do. We're basing our happiness in external factors. And I was
Yeah.
basing it on my body image, on my location, on my job, on my life, on my partner. And I said, Nat, what are you doing? This is crazy. You have to stop doing that. And you have to find happiness within. And it was when the Bon-Vivant girl came up. And Bon-Vivant in French, it's like if we literally translate, it means well living. But a Bon-Vivant is someone who enjoys everything in life, who takes pleasures from everything. Basically me. So it's why I'm the Bon-Vivant girl.
And it's so hard though for so many people just to
Yeah.
to enjoy. And one thing I say, Natalie, and this is what I really love about you, because you're right there with me. Because when I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and they're at all levels of different success, but one of the places that they don't create a lot of space for themselves is space for themselves. Because they get to the point to where they're not even working on their own dreams anymore, because they're so busy building other people's dreams, and they're creating success, and they're becoming
Yeah.
profitable, and they have people under them, and all of a sudden they run out of time for themselves. These are the people that you save, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. And also, these are like the people that I'm talking who are basing all their happiness on those external factors,
Right.
not on themselves, because all these can come and go. The only thing that stays, it's really the person you see in the mirror, you. So
Mm.
they have to learn how to base their happiness on themselves and find that happiness, and all the rest, helping others, it's amazing. Like doing everything, getting the body, the job, the location, the partner. It's amazing. But these will be the little cherry on top. But first, you have to be happy within. And then,
Mm.
the rest will come. Actually, there is a study that determined the source of happiness. And you're not going to believe it, but 50% of your happiness comes from biology or genetics. So basically, either you see the glass half full or half empty, it's predisposed. But 10%, only 10% of your happiness comes from the external factors,
Mm.
which are what we're all basing our happiness. And the remaining 40%, it's the activities you choose to do every day. And my happiness cocktail helps you to discover those 40% of happiness.
So really, that's the tipping scale. That 40% takes you on the unhappy side versus the happiness side. Then is that
Exactly.
correct?
Yes,
It,
and then the last 10% will come anyway. So it's really those 40% that I work with everyone, with my clients, on my speaking engagements. So I try to explain people to work on those 40%. It's not difficult. It's like little things that we do without thinking, but it needs a little mindset, a little, being mindful, and it works.
but come on, people are stubborn. They don't,
I know.
I see so many people and they are comfortable with where they're at. Like they have a fear to be happy, don't they? I
Yeah.
mean, so many people just like have this dread of like, oh my goodness, if I'm happy, I'm gonna have to own that. And I don't even know how to own it anymore because it's been 40 years since I've been happy. I mean, really, Natalie, how do you break through people that are that stubborn where they're happy in misery, it seems like?
I do it one smile at a time.
Oh my
But
god.
what I do is I have like on my non-alcoholic but happiness cocktail, I have 5 main ingredients that I work with people. So the
Mhm.
first one is smile, because I believe that if we smile to the world will smile back at you. And
Mm.
smiling, it's like actually, even if you force a smile, your brain thinks that you're smiling, and those little tiny molecules, your
Yep.
happiness hormones, your neurotransmitters, they will be released. So even if you don't feel like it, fake it until you make it. But
I love that.
also try to find the positive on everything. So that will
Mm.
be really a good thing in your life, because let's be honest, we can have two emotions at the same time, but the dominant emotions, the brain will take register the dominant emotion. Think about, you're in a dark room. That's the negative feelings. If you
Right.
turn the light on, the light is so powerful that you don't see the darkness. It's still there, but you don't see it. So by using positive words and finding the positive in everything, you just like transform the course of your day, of your life. So smile, it's very important.
A- and like finding the positive. I mean that means like even replacing some of the people that are in your life, because people can shine the positive who are around you as well, correct?
Exactly. Surrounding yourself with the good people, and
uh,
and getting rid of those. Those will go on the I invest, because I want you
mm.
to invest to declutter your life. Invest in the opportunities that comes to you. Invest in gratitude. And
Wait.
you
Declutter your life. I'm writing that down. Okay, tell me a little. What does that mean? Declutter my life. I mean, it's just like I have. I work on my decluttering my closet or my garage, but I don't know what that means for decluttering my life.
it's basically getting rid of anything or anyone that doesn't belong to your life today, that doesn't bring you
Mm.
joy, that doesn't support you. You know, we have those people around us, we think that they're good for us, but actually they're not. Get rid of them. Don't lose your time. Like, you're not going to save them, and they're not there to support you. Surround yourself with positivity and supportive people. And also objects. We keep holding on to objects. I mean, this is like declaring your garage, but you have to get rid of that, the
Right.
stuff that don't belong to your life today, because they're taking maybe physically, but emotionally space as well. I have a lot of clients, for example, who try to lose weight, and then they attach their happiness to, I mean, I'm not helping them to lose weight. I'm helping them to find happiness regardless of their body issues. But for example, they hang on to those skinny jeans. I'm like, why? Get rid of it. The minute that you will, because like that's not a motivation for you. That's actually something to remind you that you were like maybe a few pounds lighter. Who cares? You're beautiful the way you are. So get rid of it so you have space for your clothes today. And then if one day you want to go on shopping, us women, we love shopping, you can do it.
So like these they're like trigger objects. They actually remind you and make you feel that you're not successful, and by
Yeah.
keeping them, it's having the opposite effect of being rewarded. It's like shaming you then, isn't it?
Exactly. It's shaming you, but also, for example, old pictures of an
Mhm.
ex-partner or of an old success. It's holding us in the back. We have to move. We have to live the present and look for the future. But living in the past is not going to bring us anything. Success or failure in the past is not going to bring. Today, it's today. We have to live the now. The power of
Yeah.
now, it's very important.
I love that. So like with the happiness cocktail, so part of it's a smile, bringing positive in your life. What else is there in the cocktail, that we should be
So
doing?
there is move, and move obviously can be physically move your body, but moving your body from ordinary to extraordinary. And this is simple. It's
Mm,
like what we were talking. It's like we all are, in our ways. We love what we do. We are in our comfort zone. And
right.
we're scared to go outside because, like, as you were saying, some people, even their comfort zone is their unhappiness. They're scared that being happy, it's going to be something that they cannot handle because they know the pain of unhappiness. So say yes to get out a little bit, test it. Just check what's out there. I'm not saying to, like leave your job or do this, like little steps. With these little steps, you can explore the outside of your comfort zone and move your body from ordinary to extraordinary. I mean, isn't it amazing to wake up every day with passion and do something that you love?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I can't even, I always say that there's like two people in life. It's like the ones that, um, they can't sleep at night, and then you have the other ones who can't wait to get up in the morning. It's like kind of like the glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like what you want to have of that. But it's just like, but sometimes, I mean, Natalie, it's like, I see a lot of people in, the hardest relationship they have isn't with their mom or their dad or their kids. It's actually with themselves. And I'm sure you have to probably help. There's probably things that you do in your programs and your products that you do to help them start to see themselves in that mirror and start smiling and start
Yes.
decluttering and start bringing positivity. But my gosh, if they're not believing that themselves, it'll happen probably for a day or two, but then all of a sudden they go right back to where they were. So you have to do things that create some sustainability for them, correct?
Exactly. I mean, actually, that's one of the ingredients, love, the
Ah,
L,
the
love,
L.
and actually self love. Because let's be
Mm.
honest, if we don't love ourselves, how do we expect others to love us? Or if we don't accept ourselves, how do we expect others to accept us? So everything starts with love. And I help people to find the self love. Find, like, for example, if I ask you to think about 3 words describing yourself physically or emotionally, or would they be negative or positive?
They'd be positive. They would be positive. But
You,
let me
because like
tell you,
you rock. Yeah, tell me.
yeah, because I'd be like, yeah, I rock, man. I'm cool, but have I always felt that way? Absolutely not.
No.
You
But
know,
I
and
mean, even if you hadn't felt positive, you still rock. You just don't see it, and I'm there to
yeah,
help you to see it.
Yeah, because and it's just like, I get it. And so it's like, I mean, even the most positive people in the world, sometimes, I wake up and the crud comes down on me. It rains on me. And it's like, oh my goodness, I got to look for that umbrella to just get that crud off of me. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't understand. You know, being joyful, being happy, feeling amazing, it doesn't mean that I don't wake up and I'm not competing against it, right? It doesn't mean that it still doesn't affect me. And my dad used to tell me, he said, even the most negative people have positive days. And so, and I kind of look at it the same way. Even the most positive people may have negative days,
Of course.
and so, but that's how you also help people too. You help people come up with plans or coping mechanisms, or putting them in their happy place as well. Because a lot of times when we're in these positions, right, Nathalie, especially as public figures, I mean, people have expectations of us, but man, it's so much easier if we shine on the inside as we do the outside, right?
Yeah, for sure. But we all, as you said, us happy people too, we have bad days, but how do we switch that? It's
Yeah.
like really, I call like this place in my mind the happiness bank. Whenever I have a happy moment, I deposit there, and every time that I hit a rough patch, I go and collect one of the happy memories that I have in my head. So I get, I connect to that to change the shift and the energy in my life. And it really helps because let's be honest, if something goes wrong since the morning, like it goes from wrong to worse all day long. So we have to shift that energy
Right.
and to be able to that either find something, at least one positive thing, and hold on to it. And I know that sometimes it's challenging, but it happens. Or go and collect it from your happiness bank.
Oh my gosh, the happiness bank. I love that. So what do clients? How do they expect? Like working with clients, do you do like an assessment of them? Do you ask them to fill out a questionnaire? I'm
Yes,
sure there
it's like
has to
they
be,
fill up. Yeah, they fill
yeah,
up a
some type of
questionnaire.
baseline. Yeah.
Exactly. But before that, we meet at least
Hmm.
for half an hour. We discuss because, again, energy. Some people, maybe they need help. Maybe I'm not the right person or they're not the right client for me. So we really spend the first half an hour chatting. And then we said, okay, are we ready to do this? And if we are ready, they fill up a questionnaire. And my program that I call the Happiness Cocktail as well, it's for 3 months and we meet weekly, and they have access to me, and they do, I'm sorry, some homework of self-love,
That's good.
self-acceptance,
Yeah.
and of they have to show me that they're using my ingredients. And so we work together, but first we obviously define what is missing in their life, because most of the people when they come to me, they're not telling me I'm not happy. They're saying like I have everything, like I don't know why, like today I don't feel good, like they cannot pinpoint as well. And I'm like, been there.
Absolutely. So like you were in that place where it was like everything that was going around, if I was watching you, was wonderful, it was beautiful, even perfect to some, but inside that you just weren't. You were kind of an imposter to yourself, let's say.
Of course.
how how do you self trigger yourself out of that though? Or did you find a little help, or how's that inspiration? Was it a self spark, or did someone spark you? And with that spark, you're sparking others. And so it really is just like mind blowing to me, because I always feel like, there's that one epiphany moment, or there's that one time frame when you like, you're looking at the red door
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, I gotta, okay, I'm gonna either be on this side of that door forever, or I'm gonna open that thing and I'm gonna go through. I mean, there was that point for you as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, yeah, of course. So as I mentioned, I moved to New York, and I
Yeah.
mean, I was an unhappy person. Something was missing. I didn't know, and I gained all that weight. And so then, when I started to become a professional dieter, I wasn't losing weight. I was losing even more joy of life, and I think that was the rock bottom, because like I was home hating everyone and myself. because I was like, life is unfair, basically, like
Yeah.
everybody's living their life. I'm not. I couldn't fit in any of my clothes. I was like munching on 3 carrots. I was like losing money, losing money, joy, and my social life. And I was really, really unhappy until one day. And I was hungry too, by the way, because I was starving myself with those diets.
All
One
those
day,
carrots.
I mean, like those 3 carrots, like you munching them. I mean, I did some crazy
Mm.
stuff, like to lose weight. That we all do. We all been there.
Yeah.
So I was watching TV, like sad or whatever, and there was this show, Love Yourself Naked. It's gonna sound silly, but it's a show where the host take few contestants. Actually, he works like with one, and he helps them to love themselves. He helps them to get dressed, to find the outfit that fit. And those ladies, they were a little on the heavier side. And then there's actually one scene where there are like several ladies, and they ask them to position themselves. They say, "Where do you see yourself?" And they always go like to much more heavier side. And
Right.
slowly they, teach them makeup and this. They do photo shoot of those ladies, and they put a naked photo shoot on a billboard on Times Square. And
Oh.
people walking by make comments, and all the comments are positive. And I was like, I mean, I'm
Wow.
not gonna get on the Times Square
Right.
naked photo, but why don't I do this with myself at home? So I will stand naked in front of my mirror every day and try to find at least one part of my body that I loved. But the thing
Wow.
is, like I didn't like my new body, but not liking my new body made me lose my self-love, self-confidence. And like I was like really down. So it was hard at the beginning, let's be honest. But with practice, I persevered more. I was accepting myself. I was accepting myself as a whole. And I was like, actually, I'm not that bad. And I was like, I'm good. and
That's
and it's
great.
funny because like I will like start to leave the home and stop those diets. My friends were like, did you lose weight? I'm like, no. They were like, you have such a confidence that oozing, such an energy of peace and love with yourself that we don't even know. I mean, up till today, I gain weight, I lose weight, we all do. But people, they cannot tell me, did you lose weight or again? They're like, you look good, you look happy, you look, like your energy. They don't see beyond that, because that was like where, I think that was my trick, like where it became about self-love and the beginning of the Bon-Vivant girl. And I was
I
like, you know what? Leave all that. Enjoy life.
enjoy life. Oh yeah, and like the sign behind you, enjoy. And
Yes.
I love the expression of that, and I love how you help women, and I'm sure you may even help a few good men out there. I mean,
Yeah,
and
I
I love all your
do.
things. Like you were a professional dieter. You come up with all these little morsels and tidbits. I'm sitting here, I put my head down, I'm writing, them and everything. So I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
I
I love
did.
what you have.
Yeah, ladies will understand. I tried all the little black dress of diets that were out there.
Gosh,
All of them.
I love that, and I only get that a lot because I was in high end retail for a really long time, and really a lot of the women, they were, even some of them, just really beautiful, perfect in every way, but they felt like they had to buy something to validate their own love, and that was just mind blowing to me, because even the outside was, you could say model perfect, but the inside was model poor. And
I know.
I love that you do that for people. Well, I want to end here with the quote, because I want to make sure this gets on the on the show. And in the Art of Connection, book 4, 365 days of gratitude quotes, your quote is, infuse gratitude into your life and watch your journey become a happy dance. Tell us just a little bit about that quote in your own words, and why does
So,
that resonate
yeah,
with you?
because we always want. We ask.
Mm,
We never stop to say, thank you. I have it all. I
yeah.
mean, even complaining, while you complain, you're breathing, you're alive. So you should be thankful about that you're capable to complain. And I told you, move was one of my ingredients, and dancing is one of my favorite things. So you have to shift your life from saying, I want this, I don't have this, why, and like it's unfair, saying, I'm thankful, I'm filled with gratitude, and dance to celebrate it.
Oh my goodness. I am so excited that you're on the show here today. I'm totally down with everything you say. Believe me, I just get it.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I'm like, gosh, how can the world smile more? Well, it's having people like you in the world that helps us learn to smile again. Everyone, I'm with Nathalie Botros. She is a top happiness coach, psychotherapist. Whoa, that blows me away. Author, motivational speaker, and founder of the Bon-Vivant Girl. Right? Bon-Vivant. Is that good? I'm getting
Yes.
closer. You can
Yeah,
contact her.
you see?
I'm getting there. You can contact her at 917-933-1909. Again, 917-933-1909, or email her at N-A-T, at the Bon-Vivant-Girl.com. Nathalie, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate you so much. And let's have you back on, because you know what? Together, we're going to make some more smiles out in our world.
Yes, let's do that. Thank you so much, Robert. It was amazing to be on your show.
Amazing to have you. Thank you so much. Again, I want to thank both my guests. See, I'm bouncing up and down in my chair. I'm so happy with Jaclyn Zoccoli, my mentor, and Nathalie Botros, my new smile guru. I mean, I had them both here today, and you know what? I'm going to be walking on air the rest of the week, the rest of the month, and heck, why not just make it the rest of the year? Remember, the Art of Connection book, we have it on sale on Amazon. This show is here each week. We're that crazy state called Arizona, so we're not on Mountain Time right now. We're on Pacific Time. So we meet here on this show, 2:30 to 3:30 Pacific Time each and every week. You guys, make it wonderful. Just smile and do some good in the world. I appreciate you being here. We have things to do and places to go, but you took this time and you took this place to do it with us, and I want to thank you for it. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
You've been watching the iNetrepreneur Show, a production of the iNetrepreneur Radio Network, with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.